I promised on the Shabbat I came back that I would share with you some learnings from the road during my sabbatical. I was going to wait until Leviticus, because as Rabbi Rami Shapiro says about Leviticus, there's so much bull in Leviticus that it's hard to, although we can, but harder to find things to talk about. But then I looked at the calendar, and then there's just one more Shabbat. After that, it's Passover, so it's going to be the Shabbat before Passover. Then it's, so it's going to be too too late. So we're going to start tonight. There'll be part 2 next Shabbat. I walked the Camino de Santiago. Camino, which is what it's usually called for, simply means the path to Santiago. Santiago de Compostela, which is a town, a city in the northwest of Spain, just above Portugal, actually. And it's really the northwest, like here is the northwest. It looks the same. Even in November, it's as lush, green. You think you're walking in Scotland. It's kind of fascinating. But that's just the end of the trip. The rest, everything changes every so many days. The landscape, the weather, some parts are very flat, some parts are very steep. It's quite an incredible thing to do. It's a Catholic pilgrimage, which I thought was fine for me. It's interesting, whenever you start walking, there's always a group of folks that are walking around the same time, a day before, a day after, right? You meet each other in every time you stop for sleeping or the next hostel or the next restaurant. You more or less bump into the same people because we're all walking more or less at the same pace. So one day here, one day there, you kind of walk with the same group of a few hundred people. After 3 days of meeting people for dinner, meeting people for breakfast, introducing myself, who are you, what do you do, where are you from, and you meet people from all over the world. It's quite astonishing. People came from Brazil, people came from everywhere. After 3 days of walking the Camino, that night I stopped at the place where I was sleeping, and I joined dinner right there, and I just sat down wherever there was a seat, and there were a few people there. And so you do the same thing. Who are you? What are you? What are you doing? Oh, you're the rabbi. After 3 days, I was known as the rabbi of the Camino. I guess they don't have a lot of them there, but it was kind of interesting. I was the rabbi of the Camino. I can't escape, wherever I go on a Christian Catholic pilgrimage. Even there, I'm still the rabbi. You can't get away from it. The Camino is a really challenging thing to do. After a few days of, I walked about, on average, 16 miles a day, so 6-7 hours of walking every day. You do a little, you stop a little bit for food in the middle. But no matter what, your body starts to really feel it after a few days. The first day you're like gung ho, you're gonna do your 16 miles, no problem. And the second day is like, maybe I shouldn't have done so many the first day. I should have really started slower. But you still have to do your 16 because you booked you book in advance, 3 or 4 days in advance to make sure you have a room to sleep. So you book your hostel way in advance. So you have to get there. Now you're stuck. You have to get there. So you keep on walking. And after a few days, and it's not, I'm in my 50s, but everybody, it doesn't matter how old you are. There were people there in their 70s. There were people there in their 20s. After a few days, you can see people crying and limping, and sitting by the side of the path and just, I'm done, I'm throwing away my backpack. It doesn't matter. I've seen some young 24-year-olds who had so many blisters, it didn't matter that they had, trained for the year before. After 4 or 5 days, they were like, can't do it anymore. And that's really what happens. That's really what happens. You start walking and, you're going to Santiago. You kind of planned your trip. You're going to walk so many miles every day. You're going to sleep. You're going to eat. You're going to go and you're going to do it all over again the next day. And, you're going to get to Santiago. But after 6 days, it's like, oof. My knee, my ankle, my lower back, my shoulders, my toes, my whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, my neck. It's too hot, it's too cold, I need more water, I don't know, whatever it is. Whoever you are, after a few days, after the first week, say, you're like, yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe that's as far as I'm going to get. You look at the map, tomorrow is not 16, it's 18 miles. I don't know, I'm going to do that tomorrow. Right? So every night you get to wherever you got. You try to get as quickly as possible to the nearest shower. You change into more comfortable clothes. And then you look at the book, because everybody has a book. Okay, what's tomorrow? And the book has, how high you're going to climb, how much is it a climb, how much is it flat, how much is, and how many miles. And you sit there on your bed and you go, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that. And you wake up in the morning, you put your shoes on, you pack your backpack once again, you leave the room, and you go, well, I'm dressed, might as well. I'll walk, first few hours until lunch, see how I feel. If I'm done, call a cab, from the restaurant, wherever you stop, and I'm done. It's like, let's just be clear, let's just be honest. So you walk and you make it to the next stop. So you do the same thing at night. It's like, okay, what's tomorrow? And you look at the map, you look at the denivellation, how much of a climb, how many miles. It's like, okay, we'll see tomorrow. And you do that. After a week, there is no longer Santiago. Santiago is gone. Your 4-week plan, 3-week plan to get to Santiago has become a 3-hour plan. Can you get to lunch? Can you just make it to lunch? Can you just make it? On the map it says, after 10 kilometers, there's a place you can stop. Can I make it there? So your world becomes very, very, very close. It closes in, right? Can I make it today? Can I get there today? I booked my room. Can I get there today? Can my body get me through the walk today? That's all you have left. That's all you have left. And so you come to that place where you say, well, you know what? It doesn't matter. I mean, if I end this next week or if I really get to Santiago, does it change anything? I won't tell anybody. I'll get back to Seattle, I'll tell everybody, yeah, I did it. It was great. Right? I mean, it's like you start like you let your mind, it goes like, what does it matter? What does it matter? It's just for me. I'm the only one here. I'm the only one here. I'm the only one walking with my backpack somewhere in northern Spain. It doesn't matter. I could go until tonight, and if I stop tonight because my body can't do it anymore, I'll stop tonight. I'll make different plans. I'll go spend, instead of 3 weeks on the Camino, I'll spend 2 weeks in Barcelona. I'll go to Lisbon. It's like I was on the 3 months sabbatical, so I wasn't worried. I got, really, the message, when the teachers tell you it's not the destination, it's the journey. Oh my God. I mean, it's a nice sentence. We've all heard it. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And you go like, yeah, sure, I get it. I agree with that. That's a good way to, I like it. That's good. But then, when the destination literally melts away, dissolved, I didn't care whatsoever where Santiago de Compostela was on the map. It was not important anymore. What can I do today? Can I meet today? It's the destination that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So I really started to think about how that easy sentence, that bumper sticker, it's the journey, not the destination. Actually, I started to think about how the teachers lied to us. They lied to us. They gave us that little sentence and said, oh yeah, it's the journey, not the destination. And we felt good about it. But they didn't tell us actually what it meant. And maybe they didn't tell us because it would be too hard for us to hear it. Here in the Western world, we're probably not able to hear it. I mean, it sounds good, but we don't really get it. We don't want to get it. I mean, we hear, it's the journey, not the destination, but in the back of our mind, it's like, yeah, but we'll get to the destination. I mean, we'll enjoy the journey, but we'll get to the destination. Like, there's no doubt. We understand what the person is saying. Yeah, it's the journey, not the destination, but we'll make sure to get there. I mean, you can feel inside of you, right? It's like, I got to get there. I mean, so many people on the trail who were like, their body was falling apart, continued because they didn't get the memo. And they were destroying their body a little more every day because in their mind, in their Western mind, a lot of Americans actually, they had to get to Santiago, no matter what it took. And I was like, but I was talking to them like, this is a religious pilgrimage. This is not a marathon. This is not like, you're not trying to win something. There should be a different kind of consciousness that you're invited into as you walk. This is a walk. For me, it was a meditation. It was a full walking meditation for 3 weeks. I'll tell you what happened on that side as well when we meet again next Shabbat. But it was an incredibly beautiful meditation. Walking is entrancing because your body gets into a rhythm. And once your body gets into a rhythm, you don't even feel. The body goes. Like I knew my body was walking 4 kilometers an hour because I knew. It's just every day I could see it's going to take me X amount of time to get to the next stop because my body walks at that pace. I didn't have to speed it up or to slow it down. Automatically, he was doing that. It was a fabulous thing to actually observe. I didn't have to worry about anything. But it's not the destination. And for us Westerners, it's so impossible to actually acknowledge. Because we've grown up, we've been told we have to set goals. This is our upbringing. I mean, think about it. We have to set goals. We have to track our progress. We have to achieve our goals. This is the secret to happiness. How many happiness gurus have told us the same kind of things? All right, if you don't have goals, what are you doing? You have to get somewhere. You have to achieve something. You have to become someone. And the best is you pay me, so I tell you how. What are the steps you have to take? Because you have to. If you don't, you're not ever going to be happy. You'll never find happiness. You have to find purpose. You have to have reasons for getting up in the morning every day. What are your goals? Come on. What's your destination? What are you trying to accomplish? How worth is your life if you don't achieve something? And so for us, on the Camino, even if you're starting to walk on your knees to get there, you're going to get to Santiago, man. You're going to get to Santiago, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And I was, what if there is no arriving? I mean, what are we running after? What are we running after? What if there is nowhere to get? What if actually it's not even the journey, it's what are we doing now? What are we doing today? Like, can we let go of the future? I mean, I'm serious. And that's why it's so hard for Westerners, right? Because what this sentence is saying, it's the journey, not the destination, is actually asking, can you let go of the future? Can you just delete future? Right? And they tell us, all the spiritual gurus, they say, oh, you have to be here and now. But we don't hear what they're saying. Because in our head, we have to be here and now. Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. That's a good goal to have. I'm going to achieve that in 10, 20, 30 years. I will achieve being here and now later. I'm going to buy all the books on spirituality. I'm going to learn everything, every path, every journey, so that I can finally, eventually, sometime, somewhere, be here and now. Right? Because we need, we're bred in our society to be achievers. And shame on you if you don't achieve. Shame on you, and I mean it's shame. It becomes shameful. We are shamed if we don't have goals. But if there was nowhere to get, what if there was nothing to achieve, no goal, no brass ring, no purpose, and no reason? I want you to stay with that for a second. What if there was nothing to get to, no goal, no reason, no purpose? What if we gave up arriving? What if we surrendered to life as it is happening right now? Maybe we'll discover actual happiness, not tomorrow's happiness, here and now happiness. What if we were able to shema, to listen with deep curiosity to what life is whispering in our ear right now? Like what's needed now? Because we're so focused on where we'll get in 10 years that we don't know what's needed now. What's needed, what is being called for now? Where are my energies invited into right now? What is life telling me through my life that I need to pay attention to right now? But we miss now. We always miss right now. Because we're wondering, what's for oneg? Are we going to have the good challah tonight? Right? We need to get to oneg. We need to go through the whole service in order for us to get to oneg. What if we let go of the future? Not even the future there, the future like 10 minutes from now. What if we let go and let our being flow into the reality that is unfolding in our life as our life right now? There is nowhere to go, nowhere to get to. And when there is nowhere to go and nowhere to get to, we can finally be here. Welcome. And he took the Camino, and he took my body to be in real pain for me to realize I didn't need to get anywhere. And that was a metaphor for my life. That was a metaphor for my life. I didn't need to get and be or become or achieve anything. Anything. I came back to you, to this community, and I was like, let's see what's here. What's here? What is needing support right now? What is life telling me is needed right now? So I taught the class on the history of Zionism. I didn't plan on teaching that class. I had a completely other class in mind before I left, because I had to plan for the future. So I was coming back. I had already put all the materials in a folder on my computer, and I was going to slide in and do the class on consciousness. That was my plan. I had it all ready. I was ready in the box. And I came here and I was like, what's here? I talked to a few of you. I heard what's going on for everybody. I heard the challenges that this Jewish community, all Jewish communities are facing. And I thought, I think we need to know who we are. I think we need to know who we are. And so the universe whispered in my ear, you need to teach a class on, and I'm not, prophet, I don't hear voices. But it was really clear. You don't need to, it's so clear. It's like, that is what's needed right now. Okay, I'm going to do that. The class is going to be over. I have no idea. I have no idea what's next. I have no idea who I'm going to be next. But what happens when I do that is like, I am curious. Because I don't have a plan. Now I'm curious to see, wow, where is this taking me? Where is life moving me? What is needed in my role, in my capacity? What can I share? What can I give? What can I be of service to? Before that, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. 6 months, 9 months, a year, 10 years. You always told you have to have a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. It's like, trash that. Trash it. Life will happen anyway, and forget about it, like they say on the Camino. And I love that it's called the Camino. It's called the journey. It's called the path. It's called the path. So that's what I learned. One of the things that I learned on the Camino. I learned to live for the day. Next Shabbat, I'm going to share with you something else that I learned, but I need you to do something for me in order for the talk to flow better. I need you to watch a movie. I need you to watch a very sweet movie actually called Ready Player One. It's free, it's on Netflix, Ready Player One. So you have 2 weeks, go watch the movie. It's very entertaining, you'll have a lot of fun. Ready Player One. Ready, like in the video games, Ready Player One, the message that comes on the screen when you play. Remember Pac-Man? That's the last video game I ever played. Ready Player One. And then I'll tell you what happened to me. On page 23. One of my favorite songs from this week's Torah portion, when the high priest gets all his clothes and he gets this tiara kind of thing, this plate that he has to put on his forehead, and it's carved as if, as if in a mirror, it's carved Kodesh Ladonai, holy to God. Why is it carved as in a mirror? Because as the sun was beaming onto the plate, because in Israel it's very sunny, it would reflect on the person he was looking at, but then it would be written the right way. So he was written the wrong way on the plate, but the reflection wrote Kodesh Ladonai the right way. So every time he wore this and everywhere he looked, it said, because he was projecting that from his third eye onto everything he looked at, Kodesh Ladonai. So everybody he talked to, holy to God, holy to God. Everything he looked at, holy to God. Everything became sacred. And that's the song on page 23.